Hey everyone! Welcome to the 23rd day of the Golden Quill Month. It is a good day to be writing, but I have to say, I have something else planned for today's creative session, because I want to continue to work on the video about the flutter nymph, and Riri in particular. So, I just noticed that I'm looking really weird on camera. Let's try to fix that a little bit. That's better. Otherwise, you'll just have a floating head. I mean, it can be fun, but then again, yeah, let's not do that. But I'm going to work on a video on the script of the flutter nymph video, and in particular Riri. But I have worked on Go Fly and a bit of world building as well. Go Fly, the 6th chapter is not quite finished. I still have a few things to do, but that will be alright, no problem. And let's just say world building is sometimes needed. And I mean, even though I am writing currently Go Fly, but also the main series, world building is something I do when I need it. And yeah, that happens sometimes. So I needed to know a little bit more about, let me just make sure that my phone is not interfering. There we go. I needed to know a little bit more about some silk production, festivals, rituals, things like that. So I dove into that, and I think I have found some very good things that I can use in Tegane. Especially for the Silk and Bamboo Empire. I need to figure out where exactly in the timeline you guys will see this. But yeah, it's going to be fun and interesting. Now, for those who don't know me, my name is Ilse. I am a magic-wielding dragon companion and creator of worlds, and Tegane is the world I created. And for those who don't know the Golden Quill Month, this is an event Dida and I set up. Dida is my moderator here on the channel and the admin of the Fantasy Tavern Discord that you will find up there, the logo of it. And we noticed that the focus on solely word counts during certain events did not quite fit our writing process. And in the end, we decided to leave those kinds of events behind us and set up our own event in which we celebrate all progress that we achieve. My apologies. Yeah. During the Golden Quill Month, we celebrate all progress we achieve in our writing projects. I had to think of the correct words. And that is, how shall I say that? Sometimes when you only focus on word counts, you might feel that you haven't accomplished a lot. But if you have only written a few words, but also done research, done some world building, character development, maybe some map making, then you have actually done a lot in your writing project. And that's why we thought it was important to celebrate all of it, because that way you still have that feeling of achievement, even though you may have not written a lot of words in your manuscript. And we feel it's important to keep that feeling of achievement with the progression you make, to be able to keep on continuing to feel good about your project. I mean, word count, yes, it is. Well, it's important and it's not. Word count shows progression in your manuscript, yes. And if you go through the traditional publishing routes, it can also help with landing an agent if you're not way over the normal word count of your genre, for example. And it will help with getting more insight for the publishers. So, yeah, that can help. But in the end, the most important thing is that you have a compelling story. And you make a compelling story with not only your words, but everything you've done to get those words in your story. So the research, the map making, even if it's just a map that you've made for yourself, just to get some insight in where certain locations are. For example, I have a map of Dragon City that consists of several A3 sheets of paper taped together. And that's just for Dragon City. And Dragon City is just one city-state in all of Teganei. So you might imagine how big the entire map of Teganei would be if I were to do it the same way as I do Teganei. Or as I do Dragon City. I'm getting close to it with the Silk and Bamboo Empire as well. So at some point I think I will go for the digital version just to keep it a bit more compact and to have it in one overview. But anyways, that all leads to all those words in your manuscript. You need that insight. You need the information that you get from research. You need the world building about creatures, for example. The Flutter Nymph, of which I will do a video later. Or publish a video later. I'm currently working on it. And by the way, let me know if there are certain things you would like to know about the Flutter Nymph, about the design, the concept of the Flutter Nymph, and about the design process for the artwork of the Flutter Nymph. Those are two different things but the same. I mean, I made the concept design. I'm really bad at drawing, so I knew that it wasn't something for me. But I looked up the reference photos and I, made the entire creature on paper in words. And then I sent it to my friend who's an artist. And he made an incredible work of art of it. And you will see that later on in the video that I will publish in February, if all goes well. So, these are all things that help you get those words in your manuscript. And that's important. So yeah, keep on doing that. And keep on celebrating that. Mama Maggie, oh, welcome in. Hello, lovelies. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today, and what are you going to work on today? I am going to, work on the Flutter Nymph video. And Mama Maggie said you're recording today. Ooh, interesting. What is your video about? I'd love to hear that. It's so fun when you can do all kinds of things. And for my writing projects, I like to do several kinds of things, like the map making, like the character development, well, basically everything. I mean, even writing those tough chapters like I've written in Go Fly, chapters of which I thought, how the heck am I going to do that? even though they were very hard to write, I still enjoyed the process. Luckily, I have not had the experience yet, at least, where I found that I hated certain chapters of my book, of my projects. I mean, that's also something that's worth celebrating, I think. Mama Maggie, you say it's snowing and it's minus 13 degrees Celsius. We're lucky. We've had snow for a week, about a week here in the Netherlands. The feeling temperature was at some point around minus 15, I think. But the normal temperature was, I think it spiked at minus 10, but then it went down again. Or up, I mean. Mama Maggie, you say you're recording The Moon is Waxing Season 2, Sanctimony, and a Stepsister's Secret. Excellent, excellent. You're doing a great job. So, I assume that's the audio version of your books. I have to say, I don't know yet how I'm gonna do that in the future. But first, I will just focus on getting my Go Fly story out and getting all the other things, and of course the main series and the Confectioner Journey series and the Ways of the Courtesan. I want them written because they keep playing in my head and I love them. I love the stories, I love the characters, and I love that I get to see more and more of Terre. And I will see how things go in the future. I mean, I envision that I will have an ebook, a paper book, hardcover, at some point also an audiobook. I'll see about that. And Mama Maggie, you say, east of here there are winter warnings and ice storm warnings. Ooh, wow, that's incredible. I know someone in the Discord, in our Discord, also has had problems with the winter. And I know that in Australia they are having heat waves. So that's, I mean, it's bizarre sometimes to hear about that. And Mama Maggie, you say you put the audio on YouTube as writer reading podcasts. Ooh, that's interesting. So you do that as a sort of service to your readers so that they can read their book in that way, read your book in that way. I think that's wonderful. Instead of selling them, or do you sell those episodes as part of monetization, or is that your plan for the future? Yeah, I mean, it's just the options we have to get our books out and to share our worlds and our characters and the stories in our worlds with any audience member. I really like that. And Mama Maggie, you say yes, and so your brother can listen. He isn't a reading reader, but an audiobook reader. That's great. I have to be honest, for myself, I don't think audiobooks are really for me. I am going to try it with a few books that I got, just to see how it works for me. But I have tried it in the past, and that just, in the past it didn't work for me. It just didn't connect with me. But I don't know. I mean, I know there are lots of people for whom it does work, and I'm happy for that, because that way they still get to enjoy our books in a way that they can enjoy it, and they can still read the books. Read, listen, however you want to call it. They can enjoy our books. That's what counts. And I mean, it really for me, it really doesn't matter if someone actually reads a book, as in an ebook or a hardcover or a paperback, or if someone enjoys my book in future then, while listening to it. I mean, they get to enjoy our books. That's for me, that's what's important. Even if it doesn't really resonate with me, as long as it resonates with the reader, that's the biggest, the most important thing. Mama Maggie, so you leave your Ko-fi link on the episode so people can leave you a tip if they want. Oh, that's great. That's great. And your eldest daughter is autistic and has auditory dysphasia and can't listen to audiobooks because the words become jumbled. However, it is your voice if it is in your voice, she can understand. That's great. I can imagine that exactly because it is your voice, she is used to hearing you and used to the cadence in your voice and the way you pronounce certain words, that actually helps her to listen to the books. And if she has those auditory problems, I can understand that she might have a problem with someone else telling the same story. I mean, my voice and the way I speak and the way I pronounce things, words, is different than how you do that and how anyone does that. I mean, for example, I'm not native English. I am Dutch. And I'm sure that some accent of Dutch seeps into the English. I may not always use the correct words or use the correct pronunciation of words, because I'm not native English. And that can throw off people. At least that's what I can imagine. Let me put it that way. So yeah, I think it's wonderful that your daughter gets to enjoy those audiobooks if you tell it. I'm happy for that for you. That's great. For those of you watching, if you, how should I say that? Let me restart. From February the 8th till February the 15th, yeah, including February the 15th, we have the under 1K subs marathon for authortubers and booktubers. So be sure to check in by then. I have already set up my streams for that week. I'll link to the playlist for the whole week later on. I don't have it ready right now. Well, the playlist is being filled at the moment as we speak. So be sure to join me and other authors and booktubers to see what we are all up to and how we can do things. One moment, I just got a message. Oh, okay, I can answer that later. So be sure to check us out then. But for now, I still need to... Mama Maggie, you say most people don't realize that with autism that there is a different internal language. So it's like her mind is bilingual and everything she hears, she has to translate before she can answer or understand. Oh, I had no idea it worked like that. Thank you so much for teaching me. I mean, I am bilingual. I mean, I speak Dutch. That's my native language, and I speak English. I've been speaking English since what is it called? Elementary school, or middle school. We here in the Netherlands call it basic school. You go to that school until roughly the age of 12, and then in the next school year you go to high school. And we start to learn English in the... Well, let me put it correctly. I started to learn English back then when I was... I think that last class or the class before that in basic school. So I've been speaking English for as a second language for years, decades already. So I don't need to translate it. I don't need to make that step. It's like it's already been done in my head, and it's something that goes automatically, luckily. But yeah, I can understand that that's a challenge for your daughter if she still if she first has to translate it for something that makes sense to her before she can understand it and before she can answer it. That's not the easiest thing. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, my French and German are not that well. I can understand French to a certain extent. I can understand German as well. Speaking is a whole different ballgame because it's how shall I say that? German for me was always a very hard language to learn because all the grammar rules and all things like that. I can still understand it, and I can mostly understand it, and I can partially speak it back, but not that fluently. French, I mean, I love the language. I love the sound and the tones, just like with Italian and Spanish, Portuguese. I love those languages. I do speak a little bit of French, but I can see the challenge your daughter has if I take the French or the German language, because especially with French and the other languages, I really need to take a moment to translate it for myself before I fully understand it and before I can answer it. Indeed, I don't have that problem with English, but yeah, with French a little bit less. With German, yeah, I can see that challenge. Yeah. Mama Maggie, you say you were a polyglot before your stroke, but your stroke took all your languages and memorized music lyrics and ability to play instruments. Oh my god. I remember you told me about that. That must have been so hard. And you had to relearn language and so many other things. You can no longer speak or read Mexican, Spanish, German, Latin, or Cherokee. Sometimes you hear words and understand, but mostly you can't anymore. I'm so sorry for you. I mean, I have problems with my brain at the moment. Thank you, post-COVID. But that's the brain fog and things like that, and memory. It does when I get too tired, it does cause me to even have to look. It even makes it so that when I'm too tired, that I really have to look for words, even in my native language. Then I will say words that don't make any sense, like putting a mug or like getting a mug from the dishwasher and then saying, okay, I need to put it in the freezer. No, I don't need to put it there. In the fridge. No, it's not going to be there either. And I may have had several locations until I come up with the word, the cupboard. And I can just walk to the cupboard and put the mug in, but the words is hard at that moment. But at other times when I'm not too tired, it just functions. So that's really the post-COVID doing that, and I feel lucky that I haven't had a stroke. I've seen what it can do for my with my father, for example, he's had TIAs, and yeah, that can really mess with your brain. I'm just happy that, yes, post-COVID messes with my brain all the time, but it's basically relatively under control as long as I'm not too tired. Like today, I'm tired, so the longer I go on, the more I will start searching for words, because I simply can't find the words. And I used to be able, and that was really weird, I used to be able to, if I couldn't find a word in Dutch, which is actually my native language, I used to be able to find a word in English before post-COVID, because I don't know why, but that worked better for me. And now that doesn't work anymore for me either. Oh well, it's something I've learned to live with after 3 years of post-COVID, so yeah. Mama Maggie said, you forgot everything about French and Japanese, which you couldn't speak, but learned to read. Wow, incredible. You learned to read Japanese. I mean, I remember I have had Chinese lessons in the last year of basic school, and that's just such a completely different system of writing. Back then it was only writing, and we didn't speak it. It was only writing, and it was very rudimentary. But I mean, it's characters for a whole word, and I know now that depending on how characters are placed in relationship to each other, and if a character is placed with another character, it can have a completely different meaning and things like that. But learning such a language, learning to read it, that's incredible. I mean, it's something I still want to do again. But yeah. Mama Maggie, you say, after your stroke, your OCD tendency to put everything in its place has saved you from losing track of so many things. Yeah, I don't have that. So I lose things. Let me tell you, I had chicken wings, I think. Yeah, chicken wings. I had gotten them from the market. They were already prepared, so I just needed to heat them up. But I had gotten them from the market, put them in the freezer. Excellent, no problem. And then one day I took them out of the freezer so that they could thaw for dinner later on. And I had them in Ziploc bags. And I thought I'd put them on the sink. Perfect idea, right? Yeah. Come dinner time, those chicken wings were nowhere to be found. I found them above the oven 2 weeks later. Yeah. My brain doesn't work like that anymore. So, yeah. Mama Maggie said COVID made everything worse. Yeah, I can so imagine that. And you said when you got to college, you went crazy talking languages, you loved it, and your brain stored languages the way it stored music, and now it's all gone. I'm so sorry for you. I mean, I can't imagine how bad that feels, and also, in a way, terrifying, or at least I can imagine it feels terrifying as well, because you know you could do all that. I mean, for me, I could read a book of 600 pages in 2 days, besides my full-time job. I could easily write 10,000 words, 10,000 words in a day. That wasn't a problem for me. I could sit for hours and just write. And I can't do that anymore. I've come to terms with it. I've learned to live with it. And I mean, I've had MRI scans just to check my brain to make sure that nothing else was going on. Luckily, everything is fine. So I'm very happy with that. But those, for me, those were things that were hard to realize in the beginning. But I've learned to live with it, and it's sometimes it still causes frustration, but not as much anymore, so that sort of helps. But if you have your experience from the past and you now have to live with how it's going now, that's such a sharp contrast. And I can imagine it's not always easy. Mama Maggie, you say, that's fine, you've refilled your brain with bad English grammar. Okay, that's the way to do it as well. You knew all of it, and it's frustrating that now you don't, but you have accepted it, and you're happy that most of your root memory remained. Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, it's so... When you notice that things get, or that your body and your brain don't work like you were used to. I mean, part of it is just becoming older, right? I mean, in your 30s, you can't do the same as you were a teenager. I mean that's we're all familiar with that. But when, and this is gonna sound strange, but when something has been done to you, be it a stroke, be it post-COVID, be it you having an accident, it's not something you chose. It happened to you. And you have to learn to deal with the consequences. You have to learn to deal with the fact that you can't do things like you used to. It takes time. It takes time to work with that and to relearn things, and to also learn how to achieve what you want with the limitations you now have. And I remember, especially when, the first year of post-COVID, I was slowly progressing and things were getting better. So, that was good. And then I fell back, and I fell back hard, really hard. And it took me time to really accept it. I mean, I knew I couldn't work anymore. I knew I couldn't do my physical job anymore. I was a interior cleaner. That's just a workout, people. I mean, I did it 6 hours a day, and that's really a workout. And if you think otherwise, please feel free to join an interior cleaner for just a day or a week, and you will think a bit differently. So I knew I couldn't do my physical job anymore. But I was like, okay, you know what? That's fine. Okay. But at some point I also realized that the office jobs I had in the past, even from my way back when, my profession that I studied for, I realized I couldn't do that anymore either, because I would make mistakes, and I make mistakes that you can't afford in a company, just because my brain doesn't quite work anymore. I mean, when writing, it doesn't matter. I write for myself to begin with. So I mean, I hope I can publish my books in the future, but it doesn't matter if I write 100 words or if I write 1,000 words a day, because it's not a burden to anyone else if I only write 100 words, or if my brain just says, I need a few days rest, and you can want what you want, but I'm not gonna participate. I mean, I have those days, and that's not easy, but I accepted it. I accepted that I couldn't work anymore, not the work that I used to do. Accepting that I couldn't write anymore, that was a whole different ballgame. I got scared at some point, because I'd been writing for, what was it, an hour or 2 hours, because things were going very well. I think it was longer. I had a creative day. Let me put it that way. I'd been writing, doing some research, and doing other things for my writing project, and I was like, "Oh, this is going good. I mean, excellent." 3 weeks later, I still felt the consequences of that, and I had headaches. I was tired. My brain couldn't function. Things like that. That scared the hell out of me. So I really took a break from writing because it scared the hell out of me. And that's when I realized I had accepted that I couldn't work anymore. Well, I accepted that, but accepting that I couldn't write anymore, that was a very scary look into the future. And luckily, I found what do you call them in English? The ones who help you find your energy and divide your energy over the day. Occupational therapist, I think I want to say. And with her, I really learned to deal with things and to find my rhythm so that I can write again. And there are days when it goes good, when it goes well, and there are days that I sit behind my laptop and I'm like, yep, no idea what I'm gonna do. So it's different, yeah. Mama Maggie say, you can logic your way around things that you no longer know, and your neuropsychologist says being creative and intelligent is more important than knowing all the things and the things plus the things. Yeah, I understand what you mean, yeah. Asking for help was the hardest part for me after your stroke. You were the I'll do it myself person in the family and the go-to person when a volunteer or organizer was needed. Yeah. Saying help me with this or no, I can't help you with your thing came with such shame and guilt. I recognize that. It's just hard. And no, I mean, you really want to help and you want to do the things you were used to do. You want to help those people. You want to volunteer. You want to organize events, etc., etc. And when you know that you used to be able to do that, it's especially hard to learn to deal with the fact that you can't do that anymore. But like your neuropsychologist says, or what your neuropsychologist says is very important. Being creative, intelligent is more important than knowing all the things. I think that's a very interesting point of view. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, if you're creative, you will find ways to deal with it, and you will find new ways again to go where you want and to be able, in the end, to do what you want. There's also a difference, I feel. I mean, people have asked me how can you stay so positive? How can you just go on? Well, I've had bad times in my life with several things, both physical health and mental health. So I had to learn to deal with setbacks. And I mean, post-COVID, that was just the next thing in line that I needed to learn to deal with and needed to learn to live with. I mean, it's not an easy thing, not always, but 3 years in, yeah, I guess I've learned to live with it. But staying positive is also, I think, part of part of that creative vision. You will keep looking for ways to do what you want and to not get down. And that's important. Mama Maggie say positive mental attitude is a choice and a struggle, but better than the alternative of giving up any and letting myself die. Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Yeah, and you're too damn stubborn to give up before you finish editing everything and writing all the story seeds. Exactly. I mean, if I look at everything in Tergane, the main series is going to be either 4 or 8 books. 4 and 8 are important numbers in Tergane. So that's at least 4 books and maybe 8 books that I want to finish, and I want to not only finish but also have them published. Then there's the Confectionist series. I can excuse me. I can imagine that it might turn out to be at least 2 books, but potentially 4. Then there's The Ways of the Courtesan. That might also be multiple books. Then I have The Fruit Growers, or the Food Heist book. That will probably be 1 book. And outside of Tergane, I have Genema. That's a completely different world. I have ideas for that as well. And I have ideas for 2 dystopian fantasy, but dystopian books. So I've got loads of things I want to write. And for me, I've just said, you know what? This way or that way, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna write them and I'm gonna publish them. And I'll be damned if that's not gonna happen one way or the other. You have too much word vomiting left to do. Oh yeah. Exactly. I mean, there's so much inside of us, and that's what I like. I mean, yesterday or today, I don't remember, doesn't matter, I saw an image that said an author is just a person with a world built in, or something like that. And I was like, one world? You sure about that? Because I have multiple. So what does that make me then? You know what? Doesn't matter. I'll just keep on writing, and I'll keep on developing my world and my stories and my characters, and yeah, that. I mean, we have just the option, the possibilities, and the amount of stories that I already know about in Tergane, and in Genema for that matter. I feel blessed also in a way that I can write those stories and that I will be able to share them with the world. I mean, it might be just one person, it might be I don't know how many, but yeah, I want to share them with the world and keep on writing. And I have a feeling that once I've written the series that I already mentioned in Tergane, I'll probably find new stories and new series, both standalone stories as and series. I mean, there's so much to discover. Tergane is so immensely big, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface with those stories that those standalone and series that I have discovered so far, and that I'm going to write and I'm writing. And I really feel like I've only scratched the surface, and there's so much to find, so many characters, so many stories, history, everything. And I love that. And I really want to do that all. I want to discover it all, and I want to share it with the world. So there's no backing down on writing. It's still a very slow process, but I'm not backing down. I mean, I know I will take my breaks in between. I will make sure that I have the proper rest. Well, to be honest, except for today, apparently, because I went out with my mother, with my ex-mother-in-law. She's a sweetheart, don't get me wrong. But I was quite exhausted when I came home, and I just had time to make a very simple dinner and then be here for you guys, with you guys. So that's why I decided not to dive into GoFly, because I have a few things going on in there that I currently don't know how to solve. Or with everything that's been going on today, I don't know how to continue writing this chapter 6. So I'll be working on my Riri video, on my Flutter Nymph video. That's something I want to share with you all as well, and it's incredible. So yeah. So let's dive into our 1 hour creative session. Oh wow, we're already almost an hour in. I mean, it's interesting to talk about all these things and to share experiences. I think that's also important. I feel it's important that as authors we also let people know what we're dealing with and how we deal with the circumstances we're given, how we make the lemonade from the lemons that life gave us. I mean, it's not always easy, but I think I feel it's important to share that side as well. I mean, people love reading stories, and I mean, look at George R. R. Martin. He has written Game of Thrones. He isn't finished with the series yet. And yeah, me too. I'm waiting, really waiting for him to finish that series. Because I kind of desperately hope that what he said is true, that his book series ends differently than the show series did. Because that felt not good. But we don't know exactly what's going on in his life. I mean, I know he's busy with other projects as well. But maybe he's got things going on that prevent him from finishing Game of Thrones. We don't know. I mean, we're just waiting for him to finish it. And that's now 10, 15 years maybe. So yeah, it's about time. But at the same time, we don't know what's going on. And people who say that, how shall I say that? Who say that authors owe their readers things, and then I think, you know, authors are also human beings. We have lives. We have things to deal with in our lives. Deal with that. And I mean, yeah, it might mean that you're not getting your next book today or tomorrow, but have the respect that, show the respect that you would also expect to get yourself in similar situations. So yeah. Mama Maggie say you saw a funny George R. R. Martin meme that the last book is only available in hell because he made oh yeah, because he made a deal with the devil, who is his biggest fan. I love it. I love it. Well, hold on. In that case, he might be talking about Tom Ellis of Lucifer. I mean, he was a devil incarnated. Reincarnated? Whatever. He was a devil on Earth. Or so the story says, but he was also an angel. Yeah, that's a storyline that's interesting. Let me put it that way. So yeah. And Mama Maggie, you say you have laughed with other authors about releasing a popular book with different endings in different regions, and then let the fandom find it out. You know, that's an awesome idea. And I mean, it's sorry, something was hurting. I mean, fans have different ideas about different things, and letting them fight it out amongst themselves, oh, that would be hilarious. That would really be hilarious. I mean, nowadays there are games when you go where you go through storylines, and depending on the choice you make, you get a different ending. I can see the temptation of those games. I understand why people love that, because they have a feeling that they can influence what happens to the characters. And that's just fun. So yeah, releasing a popular book with different endings in different regions. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I mean, for my own books, for the main Tagonite Chronicle series, I already know how it's going to end. Roughly, I know how the main villain will end, and also how the main characters will end. And oh, that is a choice. My apologies. Apparently, I scratched open something. Oh, I really scratched open something. That is a choice. Well, a choice. It's something I discovered a few years ago, and yeah, by now it's a few years ago, and I think because it's quite close to it's close to my heart, but not only because of Tagonite being my world, but also because of things I've gone through in my life, in my childhood. So for me, the ending of the series is something of which I think it's going to end that way. And people may not like it, but I mean, I have no idea if people will like it, but I know it's going to end that way, roughly. And it is something that I'm working to, and I'm placing the foreshadowing and hints and things like that. So I'm very careful with it, but it's not an easy thing. But I can imagine there are stories that lend themselves easier to have multiple potential endings. And that would be great. That would be great. I'll make you say, I want to start a sprint so I can get some ointment. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Because, well, I think... Yeah, I need to put something on that. So let's start the sprint. Thank you, Mama Maggie. 60 minutes creative sprint. I seem to have lost my timer. Here it is. Yes, we're back. And hold it. I seem to have lost my timer. What's going on? Oh yeah. Okay, I already understand. Got it. I made a change and I didn't revert it. Can we now do what I want to do? Oh well. If I do this, yes, there we go. I wish you all a lot of fun, and I'll see you in 60 minutes. And I'm gonna check what's going on here. See you in 60 minutes. And for those of you checking in, I will activate this one as well. What are you going on about? Yeah. that's the end of our creative sprint. How did it go for you guys? I hope it went well. Right, my headphone is not cooperating right now, but that's fine. Thank you, Mama Maggie, for your suggestion to get some ointment. I put some on, and at least a bit of bleeding stopped. I don't know what's going on there. I might need to have it checked out. That's what I meant. If this continues to be an issue. I've scratched it open a few times in the last week, so I have no idea what's going on. I'll see about that. Anyways, for me, I've been working on the setup of the video of the Flutter Nymph. The title, the work in progress title currently is the official reveal of creature creation, the official reveal of the Flutter Nymph creature creation in Tergane. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to reveal the Flutter Nymph in full color in the thumbnail yet. I'll see about that, because I kind of want to reveal the Flutter Nymph in the video. So it would kind of defeat the purpose to do that in the thumbnail. But yeah, I'm really looking forward. I've been able to set up things, do some extra research, to see how I can record 2 video sources and make sure that I have 2 videos to work with. There is a workaround that you have to do with OBS, but that's fine. Mama Maggie, you say, wow, that hour went fast, right? I mean, sometimes it's going so slow, but today it really went fast. It was over before I knew it. Yep. I had fun working on it, even though it might not seem like that all the time. But yeah, it's how should I say that? I want to make sure that I do things in such a way that it's not too much all at once in the video, and that it is a bit, that the reveal is a bit spread out. So I guess we'll have to see when we really start recording, and after that the editing. That's so another a different challenge. I mean, you can write the scripts, and that's quite different from writing a manuscript. I mean, it both has the word script, but that's where the comparison ends. The writing a script for a video is quite different than writing a manuscript. I'm a bit used to it now. I've made a few videos. I usually try to not go full scripted on my videos, but it's not always easy. And in this case, I wanted to make sure that I have the information that I want to give you guys, and make sure that I have that listed in my script. And for the rest, it will be more free talking and showing you guys several things. And that's right now all I can tell you guys about it, because otherwise I will give away way too much, and that's not handy. That's not handy. So I learned a few new things about OBS, things I didn't know yet. So that's going to be fun to figure out and to test out. I will see how that all goes. I have no idea yet. Mama Maggie, you say you are going to have to re-record the video you meant to release today, but you may just do it live. Ooh, interesting. For some reason, your editing software is compiling the videos with no sound and you don't know why. Ooh. Ooh, that's not good. Which editing software are you using? I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and I vaguely remember that can be an issue. I know there's a seemingly easy solution, but I don't know the solution right now. Legacy, I have never heard of that. That's, I mean, there are so many different video editing softwares that you can use to make videos. It comes with MS Office. Okay. Then I assume it's installed for me as well. Because I have MS Office. But, oh, let me look it up. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. No, it comes with a games launcher. Oh, Windows Media Player Legacy. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I understand. Okay. I have no idea. The only thing I ever used Windows Media Player for was to play videos. I never recorded any. I never edited any videos in Windows Media Player, so I have no idea how that works. So I unfortunately can't help you with that. I was really happy when I found DaVinci Resolve. You can already get the free version with loads of options. So that's why I decided to just use that. Apparently, it's quite a standard in video making, movie making, etc. So, oh well. I thought, well, what could go wrong? Well, no. I thought it was a very good program to use. Maggie say, but they are trying to force a shift to clip chimp, which you hate using. Never heard of that either. So, is Windows Media Player Legacy suggests that it's an old version? And seeing that they want to force you to move to clip chimp? Okay. Yeah. And you hate it when they update a decent add-on to the point it is unusable, so they can push a newer add-on that is annoying to learn. I can understand that, yeah. That is extremely annoying. And it can actually really hinder your process. And maybe even, I don't know, make you consider moving on to other software. Of course, it depends on what you're using, what you have for opportunities and possibilities to actually use other software. I remember I looked into that way back when I had to decide about using MS Office or something, whichever what else. And I've used what's that program called? OpenOffice for quite a while for spreadsheets, Word writing software, things like that. And now I'm back to MS Office again. Well, that is to say, I'm back to MS Office for Excel. I normally don't use Word because if I have to write longer stuff, then I will do that in Scrivener. But of course, if I want to send it to other people, then I will have to export it to Word and then turn it into PDFs. So yeah, I I do have to use Word, and well, I mean, you can't uninstall any programs you don't use anymore, so that's quite annoying as well. Mama Maggie say Clipchimp is more for making TikTok reels and such, not editing real videos. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I recently made an account on TikTok, but I don't see myself using it. And you loved OpenOffice and Apache writes, then after Windows 10 update, those wouldn't work. Yeah. And now you're stuck paying a monthly fee for Office Suite forever. Yeah, I mean, it's so annoying. I've never used Apache Writes, but I did use OpenOffice for quite a while. I mean, I came from using WordPerfect back in the days, and I could really do everything with that. And then I was on an internship and they had Word, and I had no other choice but to use Word instead of WordPerfect. I absolutely hated Word back then because I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted to. The things I could do, I could easily do in WordPerfect that I couldn't do in Word. And the bad thing was to be able to hand in my scription, my final papers, whatever you want to call it. I had to use a certain format and have, for example, page numbering not obviously on the front and on the table of contents and things like that, and only have it start after the table of contents. And I could easily do that in WordPerfect, but I couldn't make it work in Word. I mean, in the end, I think I was on the phone with the Microsoft help desk for an hour or maybe even longer to get it to work the way I needed it to work. And they just didn't get it. They didn't understand what I wanted. And I was like, listen, I am forced to use your program, but it's not doing what I wanted to do, what should be possible because WordPerfect does it. Oh, yeah. And you miss WordPerfect as well. Yeah, I mean, that was... You could just see exactly what was going on. And in that, how do you call it? The underwater screen? At least that's what it was called in Dutch. That was so perfect. And you could dive into that and fix things there. But I could also exactly point where I wanted my page numbering, where I wanted my headers, where I wanted my footers, just everything that I needed. I mean that conversion to Word was so awful. Or transition, I should say. But, well, yeah, I mean, in the end, there's nothing left, almost. Well, OpenOffice, but that... OpenOffice doesn't agree with everything anymore. Or you have to go to Linux, I think. I assume Linux will still accept OpenOffice. But I don't have a Linux laptop nor desktop, so that's not gonna work. Formatting in Word versus OpenOffice or WordPerfect was and is still a nightmare. Exactly. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Why can't Microsoft make it work like WordPerfect, or make it work like OpenOffice? And I mean, that's decades later. I mean, it's not like it was a few weeks ago or a few months ago. It's decades since they started with it, and they still can't give us things like that. And that's, sometimes so frustrating. And that's why I'm happy with Scrivener. Because I can do a lot in Scrivener. except for ordered lists and unordered lists. That doesn't quite work as it should work. But okay, I'll give them that, because it's not really made for that, to have that. So, I mean, I use it in my scripts and in other things, and in research, recording, and things like that. So sometimes I use Scrivener in ways that it's not exactly meant to be used. But I don't care about that. But yeah, words, nah. And also, if you have lots of words in Word, then you really start to have a problem. And if you put images in your Word documents, yeah, that's not a good idea. It's such a bad idea. Because then your file becomes so humongous that it can just simply crash Word or crash your PC. So yeah, not advisable to do that. Mama Maggie, you say, you need to move to Scrivener or Pro Writing 8, but you just don't have the energy to learn a new program. I can imagine that. I've been using Scrivener for what it's like. I think 10 years or so. So I've been using it for a long time. So I'm used to it. That makes a huge difference. If I were to have to start now, especially with my brain as it is right now, I would have a harder time. I find learning new things is hard. But at the same time, Scrivener is it gives me the option to, how shall I say that? To make it easier on the long run for writing my manuscript. And I mean, now I can easily jump to a chapter without having to scroll through an enormous document. That really makes a difference. I can use the cards. I can move them around if needed be. They're like index cards, those old index cards from libraries and where you keep addresses and things like that. Rolodex. So you have index cards like that, and you can move them around. And basically, they are what you use for your chapters and for your scenes. So that really helps me in that way, and that's something that you can't easily do in Word. You can't do in Word, period. Mama Maggie, you say Word hates some of your documents. You have all of the Relic of Time War in one document, and it's 1.4 million words. Yeah, Word doesn't like that. It takes forever to open, and your laptop sounds like it might explode. Yeah, I ran into that. I ran into a similar problem. Yeah, and if you were to think that Google Docs is any better, it's not. Google Docs has pretty much a limit of 1.5 million words, I think, if I'm correct. Yeah, I think it's 1.5 million words. It might be 2.5, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But then it's like, this is it. You can't write another word. That's literally, you can't write another word in that document. That's it. And then you have to move to another document. So yeah, that doesn't work for me either. And one of the things that I also find easy for Scrivener, for example, is you can put in all kinds of information. For example, I have in my writing Scrivener, I have my outline, I have my character sheets, I have my world building, I have my research, I have information about publishing. That's all in that project. And I have also my manuscript. And I have the other manuscript, like for Go Fly, the novelette, and the other things I have also started. And that really helps. The only thing that Scrivener is essentially lacking is a timeline option. But for that, I have Aeon Timeline, and that's extremely helpful. So I'm very glad that I have that one as well. Yeah, Google Docs, Word, they all have their own things, but they also surely have their limits. I mean, Scrivener also has its limits. At some point, you will really have a large projects folder that's really running into space. Let me put it that way. But it's far more forgiving than Word is. You can make snapshots of your documents so that you can, for example, change something and you have a snapshot. And if you decide that you want the previous version, you can easily return to the snapshot. So that's handy. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just perfect. I couldn't imagine writing my manuscript in anything else anymore. I mean, I have written partial or parts in Word, for example, or in Google Docs, and in the end, I just put it all in Scrivener because it fit much better there. And you say, Mama Maggie, you say you were told that current writing programs prefer 40k word count documents and to divide anything larger than 50k. I have no clue. I mean, that would be truly bizarre. I mean, if you have a good fantasy script, that goes way beyond 40k. I mean, 100k for a fantasy script, a manuscript, that's quite normal. So if you were to have to divide that up in 2 or 3 parts, that would be mind-blowing. Why would we do that? Why would we divide our one book into 2 or 3 parts just because the software can't handle it? Is the software now also having attention span issues and things like that? I mean, yeah, no, that's just no. And Mama Maggie, you say you handwrite your first draft, so yes, there is a cabinet full of notebooks. I have tried that, and I found, well, at least back then, when I tried it, I found that my mind works way faster than I can write. And that's not handy, because I was already thinking not only 3 sentences, but 3 paragraphs or almost the next chapter ahead while I was still writing a part. So I was very happy when I was able to buy a laptop, because I was also going to writing write-ins, and yeah, it's I mean, it can work for me, but or rather back then, before I had a laptop, it worked for me, but not ideally. When I got a laptop, it made things so much easier. And I have notebooks, I have envelopes, and basically any sticky notes, anything you can think of that I could write down just snippets of things and ideas. Not only world building ideas, but also story ideas that I needed to work into my story, and character details and things like that. I take anything I can get if I don't have a computer at hand or a laptop at hand. And nowadays I have a cell phone, so that's easier, so I can put it in there, and then afterwards get it into my Scrivener project. But yeah, until I had a cell phone, it was just any and all paper I could get my hands on. So yeah, that was sometimes a challenge. I mean, I can't write on the back of a newspaper after all, because it's all written and photos. So yeah, that's not gonna work. But envelopes or the back of a letter or things like that. So I mean, letters I don't need anymore. Let's make that clear. But yeah, and nowadays still I find that even though my mind doesn't work as fast anymore, I still can't keep up with the writing. I still can't sync my writing and my thinking when I write by hand. So I really admire people who can write by hand, but it's not for me. That really brings problems for me, because then I would start to write things that don't match with what I was originally writing, because I get things mixed up, and yeah, that's bad. That's bad. And now, even though my thinking process isn't that fast anymore, it's still better for me to write it in my laptop. It somehow works better, and it's I don't know. It's maybe because I don't. Maybe there's a part of me that doesn't want to take the time to sit down and write with pen and paper. That's of course also possible. But yeah, I don't know. Kindar, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone who came with Kindar, thank you so much for coming with him. Oh, your stream ran long, so it's a raid and run for you. Oh, I hope you had a wonderful stream. I wasn't able to check in with you because I had a few other things to do tonight, this afternoon and tonight, before I could get into my own stream. I hope to be able to catch your next one again. How was your stream going? Let me know. And Mama Maggie, you say you write out of order, so yeah, that's all a problem for editing Maggie, not writing Maggie. Yeah, that's the fun part for me. Is I normally write in chronological order, but sometimes there are scenes that just pop up, and then I just start writing them. And I have scenes of which I know that I will be using them later, or I might use them later on, and I'll see about that. I mean, for when I was stuck with a question that I couldn't answer, pretty much a vital question for the end of my books, for the end of the main Tagny series. I had a question that my main character, one of my main characters, needed to answer, and I couldn't answer it for her because I couldn't answer it for myself. So I had to do some deep diving. I did. It took me a few years to really dive into that and figure it out and see how I felt about a few things and how I would deal with a few things. In that time, I couldn't progress my writing, at least not what I had been writing up until that moment. But the fun part is, I came up with the idea that I needed the background story of 2 characters. Fun part, those characters weren't even the main characters. Better yet, they were basically just side characters. And I started to write that story. And then I was about 70k into writing that background story. I mean, it was meant purely as a background story for myself. And when I was about 70k into that story, I thought, yeah, this is not a background story anymore. This is the true beginning of the Tegonite Chronicles. And it actually starts with them. And it gave me an enormous depth into the Tegonite Chronicles. And that's one of the reasons why, if certain scenes come up for me that are completely out of order, then I will just write them, because those scenes may reveal things to me that I would otherwise not have known, and that are essential or handy for the main series or other series, or that are just fun. And so I give myself that freedom to deviate from the chronological order, to just write those scenes. And Mama Maggie, you say it sounds amazing. Yeah, it's it's incredible. And when I discovered their story, it came with so much scheming from new characters, but also existing characters. I saw lines forming, going back to the past, and the foundation of the Tegonite Chronicles became so much stronger with that background story, or through that background story, I should say. And that was incredible. And I'm very glad that I decided to write that story, and that it worked out that way. Now, that story is not finished. I'm going to use parts of that story now in the first book. I'll probably rewrite a whole part, put some parts in certain chapters, and just divide it over certain chapters. Because there are lots of things in there that I can really use, and that give a lot more detail and intrigue and scheming. And that's the fun part of it. And the fact that I can use it this way is really sort of a relief. In a way, a relief, but also back then it was an eye-opener. Because I always felt, until that moment, that the Tegonite Chronicles, it was fun, what I had thought up, but I wasn't... How should I say that? Back at that time, I wasn't quite aware that what I had thought of was missing, or what I had discovered, I should say, was missing depth. And when I discovered this background story, I found the depth that I need for the Technic Chronicles. And it's also the reason that I really, really need a guideline, because now I need so much foreshadowing, and I need to plan it, and I need the foreshadowing, the scheming, the intrigues, everything. I need to plan those things. I need to make sure that certain characters can't know things, that certain characters can't be in certain places, things like that, or can't hear certain things, and that needs to be planned. And for the rest, I'll just give myself the freedom. But I discovered those things through that background story, so yeah, it's fun, and it's inspiring, and it feels incredible that I can do that, and I have discovered it all. And I still feel like I've only barely scratched the surface. But at the same time, there's so much in there. And I love it. Mama Maggie, you say you have scenes in Relic of Time War that were written long before the books they were in. You wrote the entire series as one giant book in my mind. You know, that's essentially what I'm doing with the Technic Chronicles as well. Originally, it was a one-book story. And when I started to write the outline, I mean, back then the outline was really one key sentence, and that was it. But when I started to write the outline, I discovered that one book wouldn't be enough. So I know, okay, I'll write 2. And then it became 3. And now I'm like, you know what? I'll just write the whole story until I've finished it, and once I'm pretty much done revising and things like that, then I'll decide where the lines are for the books, where the division lines are. I did decide that it's either 4 books or 8 books. I mean, 2 books is not going to cut it. I already know that. But it's 4 or 8. Because those numbers are very important in Tegane. And in between, they have some very unlucky numbers. So I can't choose those either. You say, so not to have massive 250 to 400k books, you divided them into 90k to 110k books. That sounds good. And for you, it's dropped to minus 15 degrees Celsius. You need to get out of the barn and start moving the poultry into your mudroom. Ah, okay. Well, here it's still above 0, above freezing. So I wish you good luck moving the poultry into the mudroom. And I wish you a wonderful day. Be blessed and have a nice afternoon. Thank you very much. Well, I'm soon going to sleep, but I wish you a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon with lots of creativity and magic, and may you find more and more in your writing projects. And for everyone who has joined us so far, let me know how all of you are doing. Yes, I get it. What are you working on? And before I forget, Mama Maggie, yes, I'm sending warm thoughts. My mages are sending some warmth to you. Hopefully that helps. For those who are looking for a way, yes, there we go. Who are looking for sparring partners, feedback, critique partners, feel free to join the Discord, the Fantasy Tavern Discord. We run we being me and Dida, one of the moderators here on the channel and the admin of the Fantasy Tavern Discord. We run the Golden Quill Month in January, April, September, and November, in which all of your writing progress is celebrated, and we give feedback if you want. You can ask for sparring moments, things like that. I mean, even if it's just for a few sentences or for a whole concept or chapters or whatever you want to talk about, world building, character development, anything. Feel free to join us in the Discord and talk about these things. We welcome both published and unpublished authors. We are we think we feel it's important that we support each other. Wow, words are starting to get hard. We feel it's important that we support each other and help each other through that process, through that writing process of getting your books written, your stories written, and if you want, getting them published. At the moment, for example, I'm still writing my books, simple, but this year I want to publish Go Fly. It's a novelette, at least at the moment it is. I think, I have a feeling it will stay under 20k words, so that makes it a novelette. And it will be free to all my future newsletter subscribers. And at some point, I think I will also put it in my shop. For those who don't want to subscribe to my newsletter, they can get it from my shop. And that will be the first official story of Tergane that will be published. Now, my books are going to take a longer time. I decided, like I just said, I decided to first write everything, write the whole main story until it's finished, and then divide it up and see how things can be done. For myself at the moment, I am still mostly interested in self-publishing because it takes a long time to get your book published through traditional publishing, if you can get your book published through traditional publishing. And I mean, I know it will take quite a while before my books are finished, and I would hate to see it taking then even more, several more years to maybe get them published, and that's why I decided at the moment that I will publish them myself at some point in the future, because I want to share I want to share all those stories of Tergane, and I want to share the world of Tergane with you all, and to be sure to make sure that I can actually do that, there is basically only one way, and that's self-publishing. So that's what I'm going to do. And we help each other with all kinds of things, with looking into how that can work, sharing resources we find, things like that. And I feel that's quite important to do. And I mean, like critique partners, like but also beta readers, feedback, sparring partners, anything is important throughout your writing progress and throughout your publishing progress. So yeah, feel free to join the Discord. Our next, let me think. The next, my next live stream will be Monday, 1:30 p.m. Central European Time, which is, I can look that up right now for you guys. Give me one moment. we have a time sheet table. 1:30 p.m. Central European Time is 7:30. Oh wait, no, hold it. That's wrong. That's AM. Where's my PM? Here it is. 1:30 p.m. 1:30 p.m. is Central European Time is 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at that. There are way too many time zones for you guys. So 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So feel free to join me Monday again. And until then, I wish you all a wonderful day. And I hope to, I don't know. I wish you all a wonderful day with lots of creativity and magic, and may it be a great weekend for you. Bye-bye.